We're live.
We're live. You talk to the people.
Good
Talk
morning.
to your public.
It is a lovely, lovely Wednesday morning. Our thermometer shows 59 point something. Yeah, I like you. So, fall is a fun time of year, and we're actually seeing glimpses of it.
Yes.
He's looking for a Bible passage, and then
Yes, him is.
he will be reading the liturgy.
Good morning. Here we are. Here we be. Our Bible passage will be Psalm 125.
Okay.
Boom.
Coffee smelled. Oh, you put a little creamer
I put a little
today.
creamer in it just to kind of soften it, since it's the non-dairy creamer, and
Yeah.
since I was having that bit of difficulty. So, anyway, here we go. I took my last levofloxacin, which is one of those things that is like, am I allergic to it? No. Do I like the side effects? No. Next time, doc, let's talk about other antibiotic options. But
Hopefully, it'll be a long time before you have to take any other antibiotics.
this is true. So, here we go. Meet me, O Christ, in this stillness of morning. Move me, O Spirit, to quiet my heart. Mend me, O Father, from yesterday's harms. Stillness of morning. From the discords of yesterday, resurrect my peace. From the discouragements of yesterday, resurrect my hope. From the weariness of yesterday, resurrect my strength. From the doubts of yesterday, resurrect my faith. From the wounds of yesterday, resurrect my love. Let me enter this new day, aware of my need, and awake to your grace, O Lord. Amen.
Amen.
So, this morning, we had a plan. We talked about it last night.
We did.
We did. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, here we are. We are, depending on what schooling options you've taken, we are 2 or 3 weeks in, maybe a month in.
This is week 4 for us.
Oh.
So,
And let's say that you've gone with homeschooling or some form of hybrid schooling. And at this point, you're just kind of looking at it, and there's a part of you that wants to say, it just doesn't work. It's not working. The plan's not working. And thus the temptation hits. Well, it's not too late. You know, maybe you're homeschooling. The temptation hits though, but maybe it's not too late to just go ahead and put them in school and punt. You know, they this will work out. Or maybe it's, well, just the schedule. They won't get up, or they get up too early, or we're not making it to this, and this isn't going right, and so we have all of this moment of panic. And so what we're going to do is we're going to throw out the entire plan and completely redo it, right?
wrong.
Okay, so tell us what we're going to do instead.
So usually now there are cases where everything is wrong, where you've made wrong choices, but those are very very, 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 very rare.
Nothing.
Wrong choice. I have no idea what you're saying. Those times are very rare. And what really is frequently the problem is one little aspect of the schedule or of the curriculum. And even if your curriculum is not working, it's usually not that you have to ditch the whole thing and start from scratch. Usually it just takes a little bit of a tweak. So the first thing to do is to really sit down and look at your whole day, look at where you're doing what subject, and make sure that you've got the right things fit into the right time, because kids have good times of the day and slower times of the day, and you want to put the more challenging subjects in the stronger times of the day so that they're able to really get their brains engaged and that kind of thing. And so,
May I deal with an objection to that statement? There's going to be a tendency at times to object to things like, hey, find your kids better time of the day to do stuff, because you're thinking about work life, and you're thinking about how I don't get to choose, or when they go get a job, they're not going to be able to tell their boss, I'm sorry, I'm not strong in math before lunch, so before lunch I need to do other things, and I can do any math related aspects afterwards. And I understand your concern. I really do. But I also need you to remember that you are not dealing with a fully functioning adult yet.
You're training them to get
You're
there.
training them, you're preparing them and equipping them to get there. And please understand that your fifth grader should not be capable of a 9-hour workday wherein they can do everything thrown at them. That's not, if that's where they are, and yes, you're right, historically and in other cultures, they're a fifth grade. That's not where you live. That's not the culture you live in. That is not the situation that we have. Let your kids, let your students be appropriately mature for their age and realize that they're not supposed to be fully functioning adults yet. You're right. Your 13-year-old is not as disciplined as you were when you got out of boot camp. You're absolutely right. And someday they're going to have to be that disciplined. They're going to have to do these things. You can equip them for it and encourage them to it. Okay, we know we need to work on this. I know you're not good with math till after lunch, but the ACT is always in the morning. We know this, so how do we start from where you are and build you up to be where you need to be? Not start from where you are and beat you until you, whether it's emotionally or in some form of punishment or discipline. Let's start where you are and then discipline you until you get to where you need to be. And this ain't Sparta. It's not. So don't think that. And historically speaking, Sparta had good points, but Sparta had a lot of bad points. So don't think that you're raising a modern day Spartan. It's not really, that's not democracy and freedom loving. Don't do it.
Keep in mind that your goal with education, your goal with training up your children is to prepare them for adulthood, yes, but one of the keys to doing that is to teach them to love learning. And if you do it through brute force, if you do it by saying this is going to work no matter what, we're going to make it work, I don't care how you feel or what you think, you're going to do this, period, you're not going to instill in them a love for learning. What happens is you end up turning them off of all of these good and enriching things because you're doing it in a manner that doesn't resonate well with them. And so there is time. There is time to work on this. There is time. And I know that you may not feel like it if you're jumping in high school, but there is still time. You can, you can work it. We're at the beginning of the year. You can work it. And so what you want to do.
So you're wanting to find back to the
you're wanting to find their strong points, and it's the same argument with learning styles. You want to find, and this is if your curriculum is just not working, you want to find something that fits with. Are you trying to get them to read a ton of stuff and they're more auditory? Okay, read it out loud to them. Have them read it out loud to themselves, and you look at it and you say, well, they can't do that in thus and such a circumstance. Well, no, they can't, but they're not in that circumstance yet. And what happens is, if you teach them to love learning by equipping them in the strongest time of their day and with methods that work well for their brains, as they grow and mature, they learn to love the learning, and then they learn tricks and methods for taking the information around them and converting it into something that works for their brains. And it's because they've already fallen in love with gaining the information in the first place. So your key and your goal is not to make the schedule work, not to make the curriculum work, not to force something to click. Your goal is to find the things that make your kids passionate about learning and utilize those tools. Now, are they going to love everything? No. Okay? They're not always going to love math. Math will sometimes be something that makes them pull their hair out. They're not always going to love trying to work through grammar rules and that sort of thing. They're not necessarily going to love every activity. And so sometimes you're going to have a battle on your hands. That's just the reality of life. That's the reality of parenting.
Yep.
But overall, you need to find if you're struggling with schedule, if you're struggling with routine, if you're struggling with a rhythm, with your curriculum, if you're 4 weeks in and going, this is just not working, what you need to do is make little tweaks, just minor tweaks to the schedule, minor tweaks to the format of the assignments. When Olivia was little, one of the tweaks that I made was to be her scribe. She had to do certain creative writing assignments, and so instead of forcing her to both figure out the creative writing and actually endure the process of handwriting, I became her scribe, and I would write down what she would tell me. That worked a whole lot better. We could still do the exact same assignments, but we were doing them in a different way that was much more conducive to her learning, and she eventually learned to love writing. Writing is a huge part of her life. So
the other thing that you may need to do as a parent, you may need to re-examine your schedule and make sure that you have found a place to put in there 30 minutes of self-rejuvenation. And that may be the 30 minutes that your kid gets to play Super Mario Brothers. Go old school. Have them play the classics. Make sure they're classically educated. Super Mario. Duck
Atari.
Hunt, Atari. Get an Atari, and tell them not to bug you. Tell them to play Pitfall until the 20-minute timer is up.
Circus Atari. Boing Splat.
Boing Splat. There are some options. Hey, now is 20 minutes for you to go read your own. Just go read something you want to read. Or here is 30 minutes to watch a television program.
Here's 30 minutes to go run crazy outside.
Most of us don't watch TV on sync anymore anyway. About the only thing left that we really worry about that with is live sports. You need to build in the self-rejuvenation time that you need on a daily basis, because part of, oh no, there's so much to do with school. Maybe there's not. Maybe you need to take some of it out then and deduct a little bit. Maybe that's the tweak that your schedule needs, is so that you are less frazzled.
For the record, not everything has to be done in any curriculum. No. There's always extra.
Yep.
Always. So.
And this is probably a complete discussion for another day, in terms of choosing extracurriculars and choosing enrichment and choosing the non-core academic things. Your child doesn't have to do all of them.
Yep.
Your child should not do so many activities that the only parent they know is an exhausted taxi driver. It's unhealthy for them, and it's unhealthy for you, and it's unhealthy for your long-term relationship. So, we've touched on that before with, we have a night that is our family game night. And it doesn't even suck up the whole night, but it's an hour or so of everything else goes to the side, and we just spend time together as a family.
And it gets goofy sometimes.
In the course of your day, if your kids are with you all day, or most of the day because you're homeschooling, whatever, you need to program in that time for you. Because a lot of times people punt on homeschooling and, well, it just seemed like such a great, but I can't handle these kids. You have to, part of what you're doing is not only are you handling your own survival, but you're also beginning to equip them to function without, for a little while without you, to solve their own problems to start with, or to find 30 minutes to not have problems.
And this can even be when they're little. I took advantage of nap time, but when you've got a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a newborn, they don't always nap at the same time, and the 5-year-old's outgrowing naps. But we always taught quiet time from the time they were little, okay, until the timer goes off or until the lamp comes on or until whatever. You sit here and you stay in this area, you play with these things, and it's something you can even train a toddler to do. It takes work, it takes patience. Is it easy? No. Does it come automatically? No. Training children never does, ever. And I think sometimes we set things aside because we assume, oh, I could never teach my child to do that. My child is too hyperactive, or my child is too this, or my child is too that. Guess what? You can train them. You can train them. You can train the hyperactive ones. Does it mean they're going to sit still for that time? No. So what you need to do is you need to give them safe activity to do with, Stephen loved balls when he was little. I could surround him with balls and he was happy as could be. You're going to have to work with their personality. You're going to have to be creative. I prayed a lot for wisdom because I didn't have all the creativity I needed. And, so you can train them, but you have to make the effort to do so and realize that it is going to be work and it is going to take time. It's going to take a few weeks, maybe even a couple months to really train them into this. It's not going to happen in a week. So.
And then some of that will then flex. About the time you've got them trained, the two siblings will realize that where you've spent 3 months helping equip them to play quietly by themselves so that you can have 30 minutes, the two siblings will start to put their heads together and go, wait a minute, if we play quietly together, why can't we play quietly together at this time? Well, as long as you don't fight, there's nothing wrong with that. But then you as a parent have to get over
now I've got to train a whole new
no, I've been trying to tell you to be by yourself.
Yeah.
No. Be together, but no fighting. If you start fighting, you go back to being by yourselves. Got it? Good. And then they learn to work out their problems. And so,
it's an ever evolving situation, but it's possible.
It's possible. So anyway, so don't throw out your whole schedule.
Make little changes.
Don't throw out your whole curriculum. Make little changes. Make sure that you're looking for what do you need to put in there that provides you with your own breathing room.
And I know we're being vague on this. We're not giving a whole lot of specific examples, and so you might be going, I have no idea how to do that. I understand that. I really do. I don't like vague examples. I like to be given concrete ideas. The thing is, your situation is different from mine. It's different from, my best friends. It's different from anybody else's. So if you need help, then talk through it with someone. You can message me. Feel more than free to message me. I recommend explorehomeschooling.com. A lot of great ideas there. And look for but find help. Talk it out with somebody, because once you talk through your specific unique situation, then you can come up with ideas in a way that we can't do, sitting here staring at a camera.
Sitting here staring at a camera, we can think back on what we did, but if you talk to somebody, you drop her a message, drop me a message, and I'll talk to her. You can kind of express, well, these are what our specific problems are, which then can result in much more specific, okay, here are concrete things to try. Here are specific things to work on. And so, anyway, all right, let's wrap it up.
Okay.
You want there?
I can't see that.
I can hand it to you.
Oh, no, this is fine.
Genesis 1, 3, and 4 first.
Oh,
memory
that's
verse.
right.
We must remember the memory verse. Genesis 1, 3, and 4.
You probably have it memorized.
God said, flip that switch over there. Oh, wait, no. Then God said, let there be light.
And there was light. God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness.
Genesis
1, 3, and 4. I was about to keep going.
Well, yeah, because it fits in the rest of the paragraph. 125.
125. Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I mean, I'm sitting here staring at it, so that's why I was like,
Oh, that's a much better length. I was looking at that going, I didn't think it was that long. All right. Psalm 125, a song of ascents. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion. It cannot be shaken. It remains forever. The mountains surround Jerusalem, and the Lord surrounds his people, both now and forever. The scepter of the wicked will not remain over the land allotted to the righteous, so that the righteous will not apply their hands to injustice. Do what is good, Lord, to the good, to those whose hearts are upright. But as for those who turn aside to crooked ways, the Lord will banish them with the evildoers. Peace be with Israel. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the wonderful cool of the morning. Thank you for the blessing of your provision. I pray that you'll give us wisdom as we walk through today. In your holy name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
No, stop button's over here.
Where were you going
I
over
was
there?
about to start pushing this one.